What's goody? We back. Respected to you got me, the Great Robino. You got JT and you got Flyman over there. Go ahead and say something.
Let's talk today. Let's do it.
Yo, I've been doing push-ups and my back hurts, so that's great.
What? Push-ups are a chest exercise.
Man, no, my shoulders, bro.
Hey, I've been doing abs.
Oh yeah, I was wanting to do 50 push-up, 50 sit-up challenge a day.
Oh, okay. That's what my track coach used to tell me to do in the mornings before I go to bed. And I'm like, man, I can't be doing that before I go to bed. So, yeah.
You're gonna be like Saitama out here.
Hey, I do it like right before lunch. I hit that 5 minutes straight, 30-second mountain climber, 30-second plank, 30-second sit up.
Okay.
You know what I'd be doing?
Can't go to the gym these days.
I'd be sitting up to go to bed. I'd be pushing up.
You be squatting out of your chair.
Yeah. And I'd be pushing the fridge door open while I was pulling in.
No, you're supposed to roll the fridge door.
Yep. I roll with two hands.
While you laying on the ground though. Now that takes some skill.
I gotta combine it all,
Yeah, that uses lots of muscles right there.
It's okay. I told myself I'll get back into it when I think I can get back into it. You know, why rush?
Right. You mean you got your whole life ahead of you?
That's what I'm saying.
But none of that has anything to do with the topic for today.
We don't have to be related to the topic. We just gotta talk,
Just going on rants.
We're getting loose.
We're getting loose with the goose
Yep.
and the juice. If I have I can think of something that tilts me today while we're talking about rants. Why? I'm looking at my work stuff, right? Half of these stories, they don't make sense. And then I asked them, I was like, what does this even mean? Or they're like, oh, it means this. So I'm like, oh, so that's basically the story that I already did. It was completed. So why are we having repeat stories? Why do we make so many repeat stories? And they basically are all the same thing.
It be like
Why?
that sometimes.
Why?
Hey man, you gotta get out of that client-based stuff.
Y'all making me think my work is gonna be harder than it actually is, and it's all basically the same thing.
Right.
Just worded differently or in a different order.
Right. Bro, my company's still like, hey, if you could, and I mean, it's not like we're gonna ask you because we're just gonna have you do it. We're gonna need you to do these interviews, and they scheduled me for 3 tomorrow and 3 on Monday.
3?
Yeah, and they're 45 minutes each. And I was like, y'all tripping.
They're trying to get you that work, cuz.
Dang, that's your whole day.
I got put on an internal project, but it hasn't been approved apparently. Well, it hasn't been approved yet. Man, I'm gonna be gone. I'm trying to be out.
Howdy. What do I want, I please?
Yeah, man, I didn't ask to be a technical interviewer. Not my thing.
Wait,
Yeah,
you're giving the interviews? I thought you were saying that you had to take some.
No, I have to help conduct technical interviews.
Oh, okay. I thought they was trying to put you on the client. I thought that's why they...
Nah. So, I mean, if it was up to me, I'd be like, yeah, they know how to code. Just because, you know. I mean, how am I supposed to know? Because I can really code myself like that.
Damn.
Everyone deserves a chance. I know what it's like for them college kids. They just need anything.
But for that topic today, I almost said that we was gonna start talking about side pieces because I was uploading the video now and I see it pop up right here as like side pieces and I'm like, hold up, that's the wrong thing. But today we're talking about video games, and what about video games? We're talking about our least liked video game genres. I don't know if I would say the worst genres to us, maybe to JT and Flyman, but to me personally, I don't know if I'd say it's the worst, but you know, I just don't feel them like that.
Yeah, that's a good way to put that.
Correct.
Yeah. So what's y'all feeling on?
Go first. So one genre that I definitely don't favor that much, and you might look at me crazy or think me crazy because it's one of the most popular genres, is first-person shooters.
FPSs.
Yes, I don't care. I don't care too much for most first-person shooters. If it's not a story-driven first-person shooter, I don't hardly care. Because if you doing trash, you know what I'm saying? The police gonna call you out.
Mm-hmm.
But if you doing trash, with a multiplayer first-person shooter, and then like, you know, I'm not gonna call you out. And then if you do well, they send you hate mail. So
Yeah,
Hey.
for real though.
You just gotta turn those off. We learned that with Smite. You turn off your
Yeah.
messages.
They go to the ends of the earth to make you know that you trash for no reason.
no, but on the real though, I don't know. I think just I don't enjoy first-person shooters because they're very reactionary type stuff, and I'm not good with on the spot decisions or reactionary things. Like I'm very methodical, right? I think I plan a lot, I think a lot, and I make my move when I feel that's right. So like in a shooter, most shooters are fast paced or favor like a fast paced play style. It just doesn't really work for me. So I think that's why I dislike them. But if you have a first-person shooter that is
Like that
story-driven,
Cyberpunk.
yeah, that's story-driven and things like that, and includes other elements besides like multiplayer or just strictly shooting type stuff, I think you can have a lot more fun with it and do a lot more things, and you know, set your own pace and type stuff like that.
Do you like third-person shooters more than first-person?
I would say so.
Okay.
But even still, I wouldn't care for it too much. But
I got you.
I think I would like a third-person shooter more than a first.
Right.
Even online?
That's tough to say. I
Like,
doubt it.
like say
I
Call
doubt
it.
it. I would probably like them the same online, honestly.
Okay.
Well, because the third-person shooter I was Uncharted.
Yeah.
See, yeah, but I think Flyman's talking about multiplayer. Because I know, like,
Yeah, exactly. So, Uncharted actually had a really good multiplayer mode, and it was all done in third person. But I mean, in general, though, like a third-person shooter, like Gears of War.
well, I was thinking about like PUBG, the Battle Royale, where it's first person, but then you can also switch to third person. It's basically the same thing, just different perspective.
It's like games like if it was like Wolfenstein, Far Cry, Doom, or something like that. I jam on those, right?
Okay, yeah.
But if it's things like Call of Duty, Battlefront, even as much as I like Star Wars, and I thought Star Wars, Battlefront was cool, like I still don't. Part of me still doesn't care for it too much because it's a shooter, like a multiplayer shooter.
Mm-hmm. Would you say your biggest gripe with it is since it's multiplayer, it's less predictable?
Yeah, I guess so. It's not something. It's skill based, and
Yeah,
and sometimes it's even luck based or reactionary.
right.
Based too, right? You know. So
I get where you're coming from.
You know.
I guess we kind of opposites in that sense, because you know I'm all about them FPSs, but then personally I don't care for stealth games all that much. Like I remember playing the It was on the PS3. There was like the Metal Gear Solid 4 demo, I think.
Yeah.
I was playing that and I was like, bro, what is happening? I'm just like crouching everywhere. I was trying to run up and shoot somebody, and then they messed me up, and I'm like, I don't know what to do here, and I kind of just stopped it.
Yeah.
I
feel the
don't
same
think
way
I even
about
finished
those
that.
games.
The funny thing is, I think the later Metal Gears, if you wanted to, you could favor like a kill everybody approach.
Mhm. I had the same mentality because I recently picked up Dishonored for like $7. But I mean, I think the fighting mechanics and the story is very interesting, but I hate this. I don't like the stealth aspect of it, and like you can kill everybody, but I know you get a worse ending if you do that. And I was just like, well, I don't want to kill everyone and get a bad ending because I wanted like a good ending. So I just kind of just gave up on it because I just don't like sneaking around, and I don't like having to wait, and I don't like the fact that if I'm not looking a certain way and something else is looking at me, then I'm basically mess up the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. Like I like that slow, methodical approach to like how is the best way to infiltrate this and with the least resistance possible.
I'm like, bring in the nuke.
Sneaking around be giving me anxiety because it makes me think, oh, are they looking at me? And also, when I be going up to go get a stealth kill, they always like to turn around right when I'm in their face. Just
That's
like, dang, man.
That's the worst.
But I think Dishonored's really cool. I like all the different abilities in it. The fighting gameplay aspect of it is very smooth, simple. The story is getting interesting, but man, I couldn't keep sneaking around. And it's significantly harder the less people you decide to kill and the more sneaking around you decide to do.
I honestly think it's harder if you kill more people because then you set all the crap going. Nah, that's a lie because certain levels are like really hard.
Yeah, there are a lot of ways to fight people too, because you can fight
There's a
them
lot
with
of
range. You can fight them with your sword. You can set up traps. And another thing is, I just don't have that kind of patience.
I can get with that.
The most I can tolerate waiting is like 30 to a minute. But I cannot wait longer than that. And sometimes I'd be happy to.
I can understand that.
I'm gonna have to stick to just playthroughs. I have a unpopular genre that I'm not quite fond of, and I guess I'm not sure what this falls under, but I think it's called, the term is like sandbox games, right? Like really large, massive games like GTA.
And Just Cause.
Yeah, I don't really like large
You're probably
sandbox.
saying open world because a sandbox is different from an open world.
It's sandbox open world and you create your environment.
Yes, a sandbox is where you create your own adventure.
Oh, okay.
You can kind of create your own adventure and own shenanigans in the area.
Yeah, that's what GTA is, though.
Yeah, GTA is like that.
Okay.
But a open world game would be something like Skyrim or Witcher or Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Yeah, I just like both of them. And I recently, growing up, I was never super interested in GTA, even though my friends really enjoyed it. Because, I mean, I just don't, there's just too much stuff to do. I don't like having to travel everywhere. It feels really long and monotonous.
I honestly think the issue is just that I think people really loved open world games at a point, and I think they still do, but I think people are just getting fatigued and tired of them because I don't know, like it becomes open world games, there's like a issue where like I feel like in an open world game, it depends on what you play a game for, right?
Right.
In an open world game, right, you have potential to lose sight of the story you're trying to tell and do or whatever because there's so much crap in your world to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you present players, I feel like if you present players with all this crap to do and a whole bunch of stuff to do, they get overwhelmed and they're like, well, I don't even know what to do, so I'm not going to do anything, pretty much, right? If you're not really stringing them along a path.
That's like the Skyrim.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
about to say,
That's like Skyrim, right? People pick up Skyrim and play the crap ton out of it and then not even do the main campaign and then
Yeah, I know.
completely
I've
forget
heard of
about
people. Yeah, I've heard of people who had like tons of hours in the game, and they're like, "Oh, I haven't even beat the main story."
yeah.
Right.
See,
Sorry.
when I started playing Skyrim, it's just so open world that it wasn't clear where I was supposed to go, and I was constantly getting lost, and I constantly couldn't figure out where I was going, and I was being thrown into places where I wasn't even supposed to be yet, and then I had to figure out ways to stay alive.
That was
There's-
me in Dark Souls 1. I had no idea where to go. They
Yeah,
said
it's-
you gotta ring the bell that's up and the ring the bell that's down. And I was like, up sounds good. Let's go up. And I ended up going down, and then there's these ghosts that I couldn't even hit, and they one-shotted me.
Yeah,
The thing with like Dark Souls is like Dark Souls, yeah, is open, but it's everything
I mean-
follows a linear and logical path. Towards
Yeah, I was
it,
gonna
right?
say I wouldn't really consider that open world.
No, because
Yeah.
everything would follows a linear path or a path you should follow and stuff like that. Whereas like an open world game, you have to choose what quest you want to tackle and like be diligent that that's the one you're going to do and tackle. Because if you get sidetracked, you're going to get all just sidetracked. Then that's why I think at a point I think I'm even feeling open world game fatigue because like I had picked up that Assassin's Creed Odyssey and I just felt like the game was literally too big for its own good. Like the map was freaking massive. There was a crap ton of stuff to do, and then things feel like you have to do it to like grind levels and stuff. And it just felt like it was going to be a chore. I was like, I don't even like. wanna
the only open world type style games I like is Final Fantasy, and it's because there's linear aspects to it, and it basically
Yes,
lets you go wherever you like. You can go and like get sidetracked, but I mean,
I think
Yeah,
what Final
it's
Fantasy has
hard,
always
guys.
done. I think what Final Fantasy has always done was they always had open spaces.
yeah,
But those open spaces lead you back to a linear path. Like if you think about, I don't know, I guess Final Fantasy X would be a good example. For the most part, that game is decently linear. Like you're traveling the world on a linear path, but then it opens up, right, when you get the airship, right, and you can go kind of everywhere you want. Or it opens up when you go to the calm lands. Like that's a good area where like it has like multiple offshoots, but they kind of either bring you back to the calm lands or you kind of know exactly where you need to go in the calm lands type stuff. I think Final Fantasy VII does this too, where it's like, yeah, there's an open world, but you kind of always know where the path leads or where to go. I think even fucking, excuse the language, Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest is another prime example. Yeah, it's an open world. Yeah, you can explore wherever you want to go, but it's also like you know where you need to go. Like it's linear in a sense. Like it has open spaces, but you know that you need to travel to the next town, get to the next town type stuff.
yeah. And then a game I recently, I mean, it's a game I've had for a long time, and it's a game that I do try over and over again, but I just can't get into Witcher 3 just because I got really frustrated because for one I did follow the linear path and like you can't just follow the story, but then games like that they kind of like force you to always be prepared and to always be because I went into this dungeon and I ended up using all my healing resources, and then I got to a point where I just got stuck against this one boss that I couldn't beat, and I was in an infinite loop because I couldn't leave, but I also couldn't heal. I couldn't beat the dude, so I just constantly got super frustrated with it, and I just couldn't do it anymore. And that same kind of thing happened to me with Skyrim as well, because if you're not ready and if you save at a wrong point, then you kind of just have to either get lucky and beat the part you're on, or you kind of just have to start over. And it just frustrated me a whole lot.
You know, it's funny. When I think back to Skyrim, I think Skyrim's combat made things harder than it needed to be, and I feel like Witcher's combat is easy to get into, but it's like you always have to prep.
Yeah, exactly. And
because when I played The Witcher, I remember I was even having a hard time with it until like I was like, let me actually start using the potions. Let me actually start making the potions. Let me actually start using oils. Let me actually start using concoctions or whatever. And after I started doing that stuff, like it became way easier.
see, that's my thing too. There's just way too many different ways to go. Like you have your different magic things that you could do.
Mhm.
You have alchemy that you can keep up with. You have blacksmithing, and it's just
Yeah, you
there's
could do
just
you
too
could do
many.
you could do hybrid builds. You can do strictly melee builds. You could do strictly you could do strictly like potion builds, which like allow you to like stack up more concoctions and stuff like that and potions and stack those up. You could do magic builds. You can do all kinds of stuff. Like
Yeah,
there's a lot of layers to it.
yeah. I personally don't like too many layers to a game, just because I also know that people try to immerse themselves into a game, and whereas that's not particularly what I'm trying to do.
I think that's why they did it like that, because
Yeah.
it's RPG, and they did it for the immersion aspect to make you feel like you're actually a monster hunter. Because yeah, if you don't prepare, you gonna get destroyed.
Yeah, that's definitely not my style. Like when I play a game, the longest I'll play for maybe be like 3 hours, depending on like the type of game it is. But like if it's like a story type game like
more
that,
jump in, get in the action, jump out type stuff.
yeah, yeah. Like I'm not trying to get too immersed into a game like that. Like I can't think. Most of the games I've been playing as of recently have mostly just been to get through them, just because people have been saying how good they are. But I mean, for
That's why, I guess thinking about that, I guess that's why you would favor JRPGs more than say a Western RPG, because a Western RPG is more is all about like the immersion,
right,
whereas a JRPG is all about, I guess, the story.
yeah, and they already have a story planned out for me.
Yeah, and they have you on the set path that you want to follow. I don't think one is greater than the other. It just depends on your style or what you like.
Yeah, and the general play style for JRPGs is turn-based combat, which I prefer a lot more than uh, whatever Western RPGs have. Yeah, just because it's also I don't have to. I can like get up and go do something if I need to, and not have to worry and like pick it up like immediately. But
You can
I
engage
pause
it you can engage it and assess it at your own pace. You can go as quickly as you want to, or
yeah,
as slow as you want to.
yeah. Because if I'm in a fight in like Witcher or Skyrim, I need to pause because someone's at the door or something like that. Then it just throws up the whole flow of the gameplay, and then like I can't hop in and then I always constantly think, oh, what was I doing again? I have to constantly
Right.
keep refreshing my mind and stuff like that. Whereas for JRPG, if it's turn based and I just walk away, then like, oh, okay, I hopped in, I see what I'm doing here.
Oh, I know. I don't think I've really played any games where I immerse myself in it, in the sense that I'm like imagining myself in that world. I don't normally play games like that. I kind of just make a character, and that character that I make is not me. It's just somebody else.
I like to role play as other characters or immerse myself in another character if I play a game where I can immerse myself in. So I could think a prime one I would do that in is like Skyrim. Like I would make different archetypes. Like I would make like a dark elf. It's a lot better with modded Skyrim, like mind you, because you could do a lot better immersion with that. Like I would make a dark elf vampire, like he used to be, you know, a thrall to somebody or something like that, and he escapes it, and, you know, cool type stuff. He's a assassin type guy. So, but in most games, I don't imagine myself. Why would I imagine myself in the game?
See, yeah, that's how I was feeling. Like I played through the Dark Souls and I was like, bro, I don't want to be in this.
Yeah, I understand.
In Bloodborne, it's like, man, I'm not trying to go insane by looking at some brain dude.
Yeah. I know the only Western RPG that I only ever got through was Borderlands. But even by Borderlands 3, I was just like, come on, bro, just let this story end. It's just taking way too long. Because, man, when I played it like maybe consistently for a week, and I thought I made some decent progress on it, and I didn't even go through like all the side missions like that. But when I finally stopped after a hiatus, again, I was like, dang, I have a lot more time to put in, or I have to put in a lot more time if I want to finish this. Because I was playing it with you, Fine Man, and then I realized that we weren't far at all, and it was super annoying. Because I just wanted to finish it at that point. I got burnt out, like you were saying.
Yeah, I think that's the thing about open world games that people don't realize. Open world syndrome. You just get burned out. They have all this crap to do. I feel like all this stuff becomes a chore. Like, I think you got to strike a good balance, right? Where the extra stuff that you have to do, like, I feel like it should reward you and it should be cool on its own, but it also should detract. I don't know. Like it shouldn't become a chore. Is all.
Yeah.
Like the Assassin's Creed things, like liberating a fort, and there's what 25 forts on the map, and there's one area. Like, bro, that's
Yep.
that's gonna get old and monotonous and kind of annoying at a point.
And everyone gets tired of having to revisit places.
Right.
I remember Uncharted 4. Uncharted is by no means an open world game, but I know Uncharted 4 there was an area where you're in that Jeep and
Yeah.
you're in like a certain area and it's like you're able to drive around in there, and I feel like that was in a sense a way of opening it up because you didn't have to explore everything around in that area, but you could.
That's kind of what I was saying. How
It's more of an open space.
Yeah, how Final Fantasy did it. Final Fantasy is structured where it's like a game with a linear path with open spaces.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think
Uncharted always stayed pretty linear, but
which
for
I
some
think
reason it was like, by the way, they're collectibles and stuff that you can get for no
think
reason.
think about that new God of War game, right? Yeah, it was. Yeah, you could argue, yeah, that felt like an open world, but it wasn't really an open world. It was more like open space that led you to different paths, right? Because you dealt with like a linear path that led you to like that big old lake, and from the lake you had many different offshoots, like a big old open space you can explore, and it led you to different paths that were linear and stuff like that. I could what?
Well, that's kind of like a hub world, though, right?
Yeah. But that's kind of the same thing. I guess a hub world would be a better way to describe it. That's how Ocarina of Time is. Yeah, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I still need to play Ocarina of Time. I have the emulator, and it was one of those things that I started and I just didn't finish. And like at this point, I might as well just restart it because all I did was beat the spider in the beginning.
You might as well just. I was gonna say just pick up the Switch.
Oh yeah, you might as well.
Mhm.
And you could play Animal Crossing.
Right.
But Ocarina of Time's not on there.
I don't know if it is. It could be.
not.
Okay, yeah. It's on the DS though.
I mean, I still have the ISO for my emulator.
Mm.
I have that and Twilight Princess and Wind Waker.
You just be playing the later versions. Honestly, if you're gonna play Wind Waker, you should probably play the best version of Wind Waker, which would probably be. I don't know if it's on Switch, but I know it was on the Wii U. They might have ported it over to Switch. Just because there's a part in the Wind Waker that's super annoying in the original. It's so tedious, and I hate it. It's annoying. It's padding, is what it is. It's like this part where you have to gather the max amount of rubies each time to buy a map to find the Triforce piece, and I think you have to do it 8 times, and it's so annoying. It is not fun. I dang near would stop playing the game whenever I reached that point when I replayed it, just because I hated that part so much. But yeah.
I know another. I don't know how to describe it. I guess it's not genre, but I guess another playstyle of game that I don't like is the ones that are overtly challenging, just to be like the Soul series. What would you call those? Are they just called Soul type games just because they're just hard?
You could consider a Souls type game if it kind of. To me, a Souls type game is a game that literally follows the Souls games formula. Where
It's
you
just
die,
the unforgiving games.
Yeah, where you
Yeah,
die,
that's the
lose
term.
all-
Unforgiven.
when you die, lose all your stuff, and then have to go find it again.
Yeah, because I don't personally look to games for a challenge to beat them. Because I just don't find it enjoyable. Because then I just why stress out, or why would I want to struggle? You know what I mean? But I know there are a lot of good games like Sekiro. Like that's a game that I see everyone. I mean, it was Game of the Year, but I personally don't want to have to challenge myself because it. I mean, clearly everyone can agree that it is a very difficult Souls type of game.
Yeah, and then one thing about that is that it actually tells you the story, whereas in Souls games,
Yeah,
you kind of have to look for the story.
yeah, exactly.
For the approach to Sekiro, where it kind of just laid the story out, because in the Souls game to me,
You gotta
which I
read them
think-
items.
Yeah, which I think is cool and interesting. It's very detective, like if you want to find the story. So like, I halfway be just roaming around, and I'm like, bro, I don't even like know what I'm even really doing. type
Right.
stuff. But it's interesting though. It's a different take, that's for sure. I know. What was I gonna say on this point of the Souls games? I was scared of them at first, like very like scared and off-putting. But I have to say, they were some of the most rewarding experiences I've ever gone through. In all honesty.
I have gone through Dark Souls 3 for a little bit, but I just couldn't keep going just because it was the little dudes that would also like bother or disrupt me too, like people that weren't even bosses, and it was just it's very similar to how the open world game or the stealth games were for me. It's just too much patience that I didn't want to have to go through.
Yeah, I could see that. Those games do require a lot of patience, and like you have to cope with the idea of like dying.
Yeah,
And being fine with that.
yeah.
I remember that when I just recently beat Sekiro, and I got stumped on like the last boss for like a good hour and a half.
Bro, that guy was annoying.
He was annoying, and I was like, bro, I'm like so over this. And then I literally came back to it the next day, and I beat him like the first try. It was so intense. I got up out of my seat and everything. My
I
palms
recently
were
got
sweating.
the platinum in that.
For real?
Yeah.
I couldn't even do it.
See, yeah. That's I mean, would I ever try Sekiro? Maybe. I don't think Souls or
I think
Bloodborne
Sekiro is
are
harder
hard for
than
me.
the Souls.
Yeah, but
See, the thing is though, it's like if you can stick with it, I think like those type of games, if you can stick with them and be patient with them and like grow in the mechanics and stuff like that and how to play them, um, I think you adjust to it and get accustomed with it and find
See,
ways.
but JT not trying to do that.
Yeah, and find ways. But if you don't have the patience for it or not
Yeah.
even looking to gain that patience, you
Well-
it won't go over well.
I would prefer to go through Sekiro over Dark Souls just because the story is more transparent. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much like the biggest thing. Also, I don't find the world in Dark Souls to be very fascinating. Whereas,
I think they're interesting, but they just don't do a great job of laying you like all the details. They basically give you like the basis and like, all right, there you go, and they're like, okay, and it's cryptic, very cryptic.
I'm also just less fond of, I guess, medieval style artwork. Like, that's why I didn't like Skyrim or Witcher too much. I'm not a fan of that style of fantasy.
Yeah.
Whereas, I'm a little more, like, I guess, a little more sci-fi-y, a little more modern. Like that's, but like Sekiro's like your samurai though, you know. Everyone loves a samurai.
I mean, how could you not?
Yeah, it's basically just Eastern medieval.
Mm. Which is also really unfortunate because Ghost of Tsushima's coming out, and it's probably going to be a stealth type game, and it's also probably going to have some Souls elements to it.
Well, you don't. I don't think you have to play stealth. It seems like you have two options.
Yeah, but again, similar to Dishonored, it's probably in your best interest to play stealthier as opposed to just try. Like, I'm sure it'll turn into a Souls type game very easily if you decide not to use stealth, and I definitely don't want to do that. But I'm not trying to sneak around all over the place.
If I'm comparing it to a tabletop game that I play, this samurai game called Legend of the Five Rings, where I know, because my person is a samurai in there, and it's all about honor. And in that demo, they was talking about you're taking the honorable route. So like in the honorable route, you wouldn't play dirty. You know, you size them up like what they said. You have the standoff. You know, you're both ready. You're giving your person a fighting chance. Whereas with the dishonorable route, which my character in that tabletop game would actually be dishonorable because she's a shinobi, so she's like a ninja, which the other clans within that, they think of that as dishonorable. It's like, oh, you're gonna do stuff in secret, you're gonna assassinate people, that's not honorable, but you just go straight in there because that gets the job done. It's like two different ways to look at it. If you're trying to be immersed within the time period, I guess, and you want to be a legit samurai, then you would go like the honorable route. I think they're trying to provide those two different.
Well, it seemed like they
opinions.
It seemed like they were going for a little bit more realistic edge, and like, I guess historically accurate for like the time period.
Yeah, the honorable route.
Right, because I don't know much about samurai, but I do know like they were like
they all have the code of Bushido.
Yeah, and they have a code.
Yeah,
so they strictly follow that code.
And that's what I'm saying though. Like, if I do go that route, then I'll have to probably fight a lot of people, and they're probably going to be very Souls type, as in they're going to be very difficult to try and go through. My only
thing is that like I don't know if the Huns are honorable. If they are honorable, then they won't jump you. But the Huns are invading you guys, so I don't think they're honorable.
In all honesty, it seemed like most of the fights, they seem kind of, I guess, slower paced. Is that the right word? I hadn't looked much into it, but most of the fights did seem like, from the fights I saw, like.
They use a forearm element.
Yeah, one dude ran up, he pieced one dude, and then another dude ran up and he sliced and diced that dude.
It seemed more like a Assassin's Creed to me, in a way.
Yeah.
Like, sure, you size your person up. That's the slowness of it. But then, you know how, like, I'm thinking specifically Revelations, because that was the one I played the most, where you have a ton of people around you, and they try to attack you, and if you counter it, you counter and then you stab them and kill them. That's what it seemed like.
I think this one though, in Ghost of Tsushima, it almost looked like there wasn't as many telltale signs as Revelations had though. When somebody was like,
Yeah, Revelations, they had like the little flash or something.
This one doesn't have like that apparent of an indicator. Like it looks like you actually have to time when they're
Well,
gonna hit.
I think it's hard to tell, because my guess is that in the like the demos that they show, they have the HUD turned off.
Yeah.
It could be, or maybe that's a design.
I was about to say there might not be a HUD.
Yeah, there might not.
We don't know
be a
still.
HUD.
Yeah. Personally, I don't actually know why I like the Souls type games. I don't know if I wouldn't say it's satisfaction. I honestly don't know. I didn't know much about them at first, and then Dark Souls was free game of the month on 360 back in the day, and I played that, and I was like, hey, this kind of fire.
You never thought about it, huh?
Yeah, I never thought why I liked it. Like, my favorite one is Bloodborne, and I think the main reason I liked that was because of the trick weapon system. It wasn't like satisfaction. Like, after I beat a boss that I was stuck on for a while, I'm like, dang, it's about time. But it's just more like so I can get to the next part, rather than like I feel good about this now. I don't know.
Yeah, for me it was more like I beat it and I felt very proud of myself for beating such a challenging thing.
Yeah, for me, for those games, I didn't get stuck that bad in situations. Like, I know everybody, I shouldn't say everybody, but a lot of people got stuck on the Orphan of Kos in Bloodborne, which I probably could have ended up getting stuck on it if I played Bloodborne when it first came out and then the DLC when it came out. But when I got Bloodborne, the DLC was already out, so I played through the whole game. I played through all of the Chalice dungeons. Like, I did all the content in the game, and then I went and did the DLC. So then at that point, I know the game. I know how the game works. So I got to the Orphan of Kos, and I basically beat him on my first try. I just died to my weapon because I was using the Shikage, which drains your health. So then I killed myself there, and then I went and did it the second time, and I beat him. Because the first time I ran out of heals, my weapon killed me. I don't know.
Oh, beat my ass. Hey, T, did you ever finish Horizon Zero Dawn?
I started it, and I like similar to Witcher and Skyrim.
Yeah.
Just very early, and I was telling Robino, because I borrowed it from him, that at the point where I was a little, what's her name, and I was sneaking around in the grass, I was
Aloy?
like, yeah. And I was sneaking around in the grass. I was like, oh, this ain't for me. It's a huge shame, because I was talking about how this game looked really cool before it came out, and I was thinking about looking into getting it, and then I never did, and I eventually borrowed it. But yeah, man, very similar story about how I don't like stealth and I don't like open world type games.
Yeah, that was one of the first games that popped in my mind when you said that earlier. I was like, oh, that's like
Yes,
Horizon.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I did
honestly
try it.
feel like Horizon does favor. this
Horizon
stuff,
had
yeah.
a lot of stuff in it though, like a lot of
that's
side
what I'm
content.
saying, man. Even from the first start, it was like, oh yeah, by the way, you can shoot arrows, but these arrows can also be on fire, and you can also put these arrows into the ground. And I was like, dang, man.
Bruh, I spent so much time in that first starting area just
Right.
doing everything that I could, and then you get out into the bigger world and I'm like, bro, this first area was so small.
I know. And then, yeah, I was like, this ain't for me. I
Doing
can't.
I knew like it was intricate when I fought that bird. I was like, hold up, bro. How do I even beat this thing? And that's when I learned like you have to truly
Yeah, you gotta shoot that bird with the wires and tie it down to the
right.
ground.
You have to
You
truly
gotta aim for
find.
the certain parts on stuff to knock them off. Which, now that we're talking about Horizon, I don't understand it because like I really liked Horizon. I actually got the platinum trophy in Horizon,
Yeah.
but then for some reason, I don't care for Monster Hunter.
Well,
I mean,
those are completely different things, though.
Yeah.
Are they?
I mean, there's
I would say so.
basically a set story for you in Horizon, whereas
Yeah, Horizon has a. In all honesty, Horizon pretty much had a pretty much set story. Like, yeah, there were side quests, but there didn't seem like there were that many side quests. And Monster Hunter is all about just hunting monsters
yeah,
and just grinding. Monster Hunters is very, it's very. What is the term for those type of games? They're very, I don't know, just grindy. It's like a Warframe or a looter. It's kind of looter. It's almost like looter like.
yeah.
Where, the main goal of the game is just to craft as much crap and, just hunt monsters.
Maybe that's why I don't care for it.
Yeah,
I don't
you
like
don't like
looter
looter
shooters.
shooters at all.
Yeah.
Mhm. So I guess it's almost like looter like where the point of the game is to hunt monsters over and over and over again to get rare materials and craft stuff and make your equipment stronger.
Mm-hmm.
But then I also used to play.
But the monsters are like big ass boss fights in itself, though. So
Yeah, I also used to play MMOs in the day though, and in those you would do that same thing. Well, I shouldn't say MMOs. I played RuneScape. That's like the only MMO I played.
RuneScape, boy. Yeah, I
And-
don't like MMOs at all anymore.
I don't want to play any more MMOs because I know how addicted I was to RuneScape. And people say, "Oh, all these other ones are better than RuneScape." And I'm like, but I had like 100 and something days in RuneScape. I don't like if there's something that's better, I'm gonna be even more addicted to it. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go through that again.
Yeah, my thing with MMOs is they just get so monotonous and they get so routine, and it is like kind of a.
Yeah, I know at least for RuneScape, if you're playing free to play, there's a point where it's like you basically kind of beat the game, but then as soon as you get the membership, you never beat the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
It almost was beneficial to not get the the membership.
yeah, but I mean, completionist stuff. I had 299s, and that was it. But I know within RuneScape, I got to the point where I was able to make money off of a skill called Slayer, where you're basically they give you assignments and you go out and you hunt monsters, and you have to kill a certain amount of those monsters for the assignment. And based on what they gave me, I could upgrade it to like a higher level thing. Like if they told me to go fight demons, then I could go and I could kill the God Wars demon boss multiple times, and I could get good drops that I could then sell for like millions of the in-game money, stuff like that. But those bosses were bosses that I could fight by myself, but then they also had the bosses that dropped the best gear and the most expensive gear that were like hundreds of millions of the gold. And those were bosses that you can't fight by yourself. You had to do they're like raid type bosses.
Yeah.
Which is, I was thinking that why I didn't like Monster Hunter either. But then in Monster Hunter, you can fight the bosses by yourself though, right?
You can fight almost a lot of them.
You can fight everything by yourself.
Yeah, so you don't need to do it like a raid. So I didn't know if that was something between them at first or not. But then I was thinking that I was wrong on that.
It is interesting why, because the reasons why you like RuneScape are very much so the reasons why people like looter shooters, but you don't like looter shooters very much at all. So it's kind of interesting. why your preferences are like you would think you would like them.
I don't know. It's been a while
Why
since I
didn't you
played
like-
RuneScape though.
Why didn't you like Monster Hunter?
Is it because
I
you played
don't-
it by yourself? Or?
Well, no, we all played it. I'm pretty sure we all played it together when the demo originally came out. We all played it, and we was talking about if we was gonna get it or not. And I said, I mean, it was fun when we played it, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to get it.
I don't think I got it. It might have been you two and Ed.
And I think Daniel and Mikey were there.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. It might have just been the whole raid boss aspect when I was playing it.
Yeah, because you don't have to do it. You could literally go the whole game
Mm.
solo. I play solo most of the time.
I think looter shooters were kind of spoiled to you too by some of our friends, just because I mean when you play a looter shooter with friends, if you play on your own without the squad and you get significantly further ahead, then you just stay ahead. Especially given like some friends that we know who they pretty much just play games by themselves all the time. So they'll play the multiplayer game that we said, all right, we're gonna meet up, we're gonna play this game together. They'll go on ahead and do everything, and then they'll go back to the point that you're at, and they basically just play the game for you with stronger weapons. You know what I mean?
I was just thinking maybe that was the problem. If you play like a game like Monster Hunter with somebody that knows everything and they don't even like give you the time or show you the ropes or anything like that, you'll be like, well, I don't even like I didn't even get like the full experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that didn't
Where
really
is it?
happen for Monster Hunter. That
Oh,
was,
okay.
That was more for Borderlands, I guess.
Right. Just a matter of that. Maybe it's just a matter of try it yourself. It's that
I mean,
homepage.
I have Monster Hunter because somebody bought it for me and they wanted me to play at least one monster with them. I could try going back and playing it by myself and see.
Yeah, I think playing it by yourself would be better because, like, or at least somebody who's at the same level as you.
Love as you, yeah. Because if you got in a monster hunt with me, right, and you try to do with me, I would like demolish the monsters at the lower level because I'm at, like my gear is higher.
Yeah.
And
I
I can
also
at
think
least
it's
tell you
different.
something.
Even if you made a new character, I think it's different because you already know exactly what to do.
Right.
Whereas I
Where
wouldn't.
to attack the monster and everything like that.
Mhm.
But
I
it's
remember
really
that
fun.
happening in Warframe. Me and Pone first starting out playing Warframe, and then we played with Blind Man, but he already knew like the ins and outs of what we're supposed to do, and he had like some of the best stuff.
I was literally destroying all the trash mobs
Yeah,
with ease.
yeah. And I mean, we're just kind of just sitting there. We were getting a little bit of action, but it wasn't as much as if we were to do it like amongst ourselves. And I want to say it ruined the experience, but it diminished it a little bit more than if we were to catch up on our own first. You know?
Yeah, I guess I can see that because I know when Destiny 2, like before it became free, it was
Well,
the free
that's
game
another
of
one,
the
yeah.
it was the free game of the month on PlayStation. So I
Yeah.
tried it and I liked it at first, and then I just stopped playing it. I don't know
Right.
what happened there. I really liked it at first. I told Flyman about it. We was playing that for a little bit. He said that
Like-
Warframe was better, but I was still playing Destiny, and then I just stopped. I don't know why.
Mm.
Like that. He was like, yeah, I actually kind of like this.
It is
I can tell
interesting.
you another genre that I'm not really too keen on is racing games, but racing games that put a twist on racing, like the actual racing aspect.
Like that split second. You know what
Yeah,
I'm talking
like-
about?
Yeah, like
Well, it was like a
split
movie
second.
type of movie
Yeah, like-
racing, so you had all the
I thought you were gonna
explosions.
say Mario Kart.
Well, yeah, there's Mario Kart Split Second, and there was one racing game on. It was on the PSP, but I actually really loved it. What was it called?
No,
I'm gonna
Got
look it up.
me.
yeah, I don't like. I also don't like straight up raw car racing type games.
Like Forza.
Exactly.
What's another one is like Need for Speed, no, Burnout Paradise type stuff.
Burnout, where you can explode all the other
Where,
cars.
yeah, exploded like
Yeah.
yeah, it's like racing, but it's also like different.
I know. I used to like Split Second.
Hot
That game
Wheels-
was so
Hot
intense.
Wheels cars, Game Boy. Ooh.
Hot Wheels used to be pretty lit.
I honestly I can't remember what the heck that PSP racing game was, but that was my stuff.
Yeah. Pretty much any racing game that wasn't in a car.
Oh, it was called
I enjoyed.
Wipeout. I think that's what.
Oh, Wipeout, the one with the what do you call them? The little, are they jet skis?
No, they weren't like jet skis. They were more like it was like a futuristic car looking thing, and you like raced on tracks.
No, I'm thinking of a jet ski racing
I think
game.
you're thinking of. You're thinking of. Is it like Motorstorm or
I don't remember. But
Wave Racer or something like that?
something like that. That sounds familiar. Because I like all the SSX games, the snowboarding games, where you just
Oh yeah.
all those are cool. I just don't like any straight up car racing games, just because. Just I can drive in real life.
You can't drive like that though.
And I don't have the intention to.
It's just like I think my issue with racing games is it goes back to that reactionary. Racing games are very reactionary and like
And you have to play a lot to.
in the moment. Yeah, and very in the moment, and that's just not how I think.
Yeah, that's definitely Split Second. I remember when back in the day when I used to play with Ed, and I come through with my car, and I get to the certain point, and I like, I don't even know what you call it. I like block him off, and then now he's behind me, and then I hit that point where I trigger like the movie explosion, and now I just drop the ship on him.
Oh yeah.
It was fun doing that when you're playing against another person. We were playing against the bots. It was annoying because then they're out here blowing stuff up on you, and it's like I'm trying to get this time so I can unlock this thing.
Right.
Man, bots be cheating in Mario Kart.
Man, they be cheating
Why
in
you-
that Jack X combat racing. I told y'all about that.
Mm-hmm.
You get that supernova.
Why do I get bombarded with a crap ton? Literally at near first place near the finish line.
For real.
Explain that to me. Explain it.
And how come no matter how good you're hitting your drifts, they're still right behind you? You hit every drift perfect, you get every boost, and they're still right on you.
Facts.
Don't make no sense.
Y'all ain't never been blown up though. That Jack X combat racing though, you get that one power up, that supernova, it literally blows up everybody in front of you.
I ain't about that.
It's like a bullet,
trying to
but
get blown.
it's like a bullet, but it blows everyone else up because bullets are given to the people who are more in the back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's how
Was
they
the
get
bullet
the
given in the front.
what?
It was like the bullet, but it was given in the front.
No, it's given in the back. I mean, it's like that in terms of like who can pick it up. It's more people like near the mid or the back. It's just that instead of the way the bullet works, where it's like a boost up, this just blew up everybody in front of you. So yeah, you'd be like in the middle of the pack or near the back, and then you just get a supernova, and you're like, "Aw," and then you just blow up everybody, literally.
I don't think
You
I
have-
would be like, oh, but you would be like, oh.
And you have 10 seconds to use it before it goes away. They also had that lightning ball, which was like the blue shell,
Mm-hmm.
and that blew up the person in front. And then it had arcs of lightning coming off of it. So if you're too close when it's going by to get to the first person, it'll blow you up too. That game was brutal. You could shoot missiles at people. You had a Gatling gun on your car.
If I
You had a
had
grenade launcher.
another game I'm not too keen on, I guess it would be mindless action game. So I guess the opposite of JT, like a mindless action that doesn't have much depth to it. Like Like
the Muso games.
the which games?
The Muso games.
Muso?
Yeah, what are you saying?
Isn't that what they're called? The Muso games, like the Pirate Warriors, I think.
Dynasty Warriors?
Oh, Dynasty Warriors. Yeah.
Well, I
don't think
said
would've played
Pirate
it.
Warriors. That was the One Piece one, I think. But
Yeah.
that.
I get you though.
I don't think I would enjoy those too much. That's just mindlessly killing.
Talking
me.
about hack and slash?
Yeah. I guess.
I like
See, but
hack and
then
slash.
what
with
about the
depth and layers though? Like something like a Devil May Cry. Like a Devil May Cry, like that's lit. Like that's a lit action game because that actually has
Yeah.
layers and cool stuff to it. Like an action game like Devil May Cry could be as deep as you want it to be. Right? It could be as simple as you wanted it to be, right? Or it could be as deep as you want it to be.
See, but then what about that Persona? It's not out here yet. I know it came out in Japan, but the Persona 5 Scramble, where it's supposed to take place after Persona 5, and it's
And
basically
boy, I
a
picked that
Dynasty
up
Warriors.
because it's Persona 5.
What?
I said, boy, I'd pick that up just because it's Persona 5.
Yeah, but it basically plays like a Dynasty Warriors.
But the thing is, with like Dynasty Warrior games, they're fun for like
45
second.
minutes.
Yeah, they're fun for like 45 minutes, and then you get kind of bored with them.
So yeah, that's what I was saying. How you gonna feel about that Persona? I don't know how it is. I think it's like an actual story.
Yeah, if it has like an actual story and like the story's engaging, I would probably just play it for the story.
Yeah, what I heard was that it's like a Persona 5.2 or something, but I feel like that's what Royal is. Or it's just like Royal's the new Persona 5 and then Scramble's 5.2.
Right.
Well, Zelda also have their own hack and slash beat 'em up type game
The
too.
Hyrule
It
Warriors.
did. Hyrule Warriors. I haven't tried it yet, but I had a friend who said he absolutely loved Hyrule Warriors. And I don't know about that one, man. I'll try it.
Yeah, that one looks pretty massive too, but I mean, you do like the Zelda world a lot, so
Yeah.
maybe it's interesting.
Yeah, that same friend, he loves Zelda stuff.
I think I do like hack and slash, but kind of what we said already. It's pretty good for real quick spurts of time. But I can't get on there for too long in a day, or else I'll probably go mental.
I don't think I've played hack and slash. I think the only hack and slash that I've really played was like the older God of Wars, like God of War 1 through 3. I think those were hack and slash.
Yeah, those would be considered hack and slash.
I would consider those hack and slash.
Yeah, I definitely remember 3 being hack and slash because I tried to get all the trophies in that, and I literally got stuck on one trophy. I needed one more trophy to get the platinum. And this was before I played any Dark Souls games, and it was beating God of War 3 on Titan mode, which was the hardest difficulty. But I remember specifically a trophy where you had to get 1,000 hit combo. And I was literally in the part where I was like in the underworld, and I was just juggling these skeleton dudes. Like, I don't know how, I somehow triggered a ton of them to come, so they just kept coming, and I just kept juggling these dudes up in the air for 1,000 hits.
Is it like one of those things where they don't disappear if they're in the air?
I think in
or
that
if they're in a combo or something?
I think in that sense it was.
Okay.
I just know I couldn't beat that game on.
I bet
on
hard
Titan.
mode. Hard mode would be a lot of parrying and blocking in that game. And at the age we probably played it, we probably didn't even think about even trying to do any of that.
I didn't know any of that. I just know because God of War 3 opens up literally with a boss fight. That boss was messing me up. I could not get past him.
Yeah. Yeah. Other than that, I would honestly say most of the games are pretty fine for me. So I can't. There's not one like a genre I outright hate. There's just one.
Yeah.
I would prefer not to really dive into or delve into.
I mean, I don't know how I feel about RTS games.
I don't hate for FPSs, but I surely don't favor them. You said you wouldn't do what now?
I said I don't know how I feel about RTS games.
Real-time strategy. I honestly, you raise a good point. I honestly would prefer like strategy, like full on turn-based strategy over real-time strategy any day.
Yeah, I think it's just
I hate. I
it's not as much exposure for you for RTSs, huh? Robino.
Yeah, I hate. I don't think I really like RTSs. That you raise a good point because I tried playing StarCraft and stuff, and I just was like, how the f do I keep up with this?
Yeah,
Like,
I
I
think it's
don't
very
think-
niche.
I don't think I've ever played one.
I think you would probably favor a turn-based strategy over.
Yeah, he's played plenty of turn based.
Yeah.
What is Dang, I can't even think of what it's called. The notorious game where you have bad accuracy. You're going up against the aliens, and then
Oh, that's
XCOM?
yeah, XCOM. What is that?
XCOM is turn-based.
Yeah, because you take your turn and then the enemy will have their
And
turn.
aliens take
yeah.
their turn. XCOM boy is my stuff. Boy, I can go to Steam right now and tell you how many hours I got in it. I think I got like 80. It doesn't sound like a lot, but
I think my
Just
most
know-
Steam hours is probably
I love XCOM. I love XCOM and Civilization. Those are probably my favorite turn-based strategy games.
I think my most hours are PUBG, and it's been a while since I played PUBG. I haven't played that since. Well, no, I played it here. I was gonna say I hadn't played it since college. It's just we played so
That's-
much then.
I had somebody telling me he really liked, I don't know, it was some turn-based strategy game. I haven't got much into it. I can't remember what it was called. I think it dealt with robots or something like that.
Valkyria Chronicles.
Yeah, Valkyria Chronicles. That's turn-based, isn't it?
Yeah, it's turn based, but it has elements of SOCOM that are very similar. Like if you're moving, when you're moving your units, the enemy team can shoot at you while you're moving, or the enemy bots will shoot at you while you move.
Is that pretty good though? I've never delved into the.
I think it's pretty difficult, but however far I got, I enjoyed. It's just real. It's pretty slow paced because you have scout troopers who can move long distances, but they're pretty squishy. You have shock troopers who have machine guns, but they have they can't move as quickly, or they can't move as far. But you also have like a tank that you play with, and you have tank busters that you have to watch out for, stuff like that. There's a decent amount of layers to it, and it gets pretty difficult because at one point there was just this alien woman that just kept obliterating me, and it wasn't fair.
Hey, y'all want to know how many hours in XCOM? I got
62,
150.
150.
Hey, I told you, bro, XCOM.
Man, I don't have that many hours on Steam because I don't play. I have 53 games and I don't play my games.
Bro,
But-
what you doing then?
My most hours is in PUBG. I had 329, and then I have 309 in the Vegas Pro, and then the next thing is like 30 hours. That's a big difference.
I have
From 30 to 300.
115 on Phantom Great.
You have that on?
I know I could tell you on the PS4 I had like 200 something hours in Persona 5.
Yeah, Persona 5 I had the most hours in too. I had 100 plus.
I think I'm like 160 hours in 3 houses, like Fire Emblem 3 houses.
Oh yeah.
I know back in college there was somebody who said that he spent 130 hours to 100% The Witcher 3.
Yeah, that would probably take that long.
Hey, but not me, boy. I got to 5 hours. I was like, I can't do this anymore.
See, I have like a slight completionist part in me, and I know when I played The Witcher, like I stopped, and it's not because I didn't want to play. I think I just started playing something else because I felt like I had to commit a lot of time to it, and I wasn't prepared to do that, so I went to play something else.
Right.
But I know I did a lot of stuff in that starting area. I basically did everything I could before I had to go talk to the king.
Right.
There was a what happened for me was, at least there was a point where I was going through the game and I was doing literally everything but the main story, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do the main story, and then after I do the main story, I'll feel at least complete and say, hey, now I can work on the side stuff at my own pace. That way, I didn't feel like I had to rush through crap. That's what I did, and that's what I think worked for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I try to complete all them side missions. I have a problem. Although, I know I did that in Horizon. I did all the side missions, but I'm gonna tell you, I'm not gonna do that in the DLC. That DLC is hard, bro. I literally,
hard?
yeah, them monsters are so much more aggressive and they're big. Like you got these giant bear things. Like they're basically bears, but they're way bigger than a normal bear. And they have like a freeze one, and they have a fire one. And when I first encountered it, it took like all of my resources just to take out one. And then now you got these areas where it's like you have to do the little training camp. I forgot what they're called. But you have to do that where you have to take out a certain amount of them in a time limit. And I'm like, bro, I used all my resources on one. Now you want me to take out 3? And like I said, they're so big and they have these AoE attacks, so you're dodging all over the place to avoid them. And you end up aggroing other ones. So now you got 3 of these big bears trying to kill you. And I'm like, bro, this ain't it.
Check it out, guys. That was us here at Respect the Tilt, and we talked about our least favorite game genres. You know, I don't think we outright hating on these genres. I think we just outright not feeling these genres. You know, it's like you know, you see something like somebody gives you a burger, and they're like, "Man, this is the bombest burger." And you eat it, and you're like, "Ew, this burger is like gross," but you don't want to you don't want to hurt their feelings, and so like, this burger was trash. You just want to say, oh yeah, it was okay, but like you're not really feeling it, but it was okay. You can see why people like it. It's all love. That's my analogy for the day. All right, y'all. It's been your boys here, Great Robino, JT, Great Fly Man. That's me, and always remember, respect the tilt.